Here we have a pre-owned 2011 Land Rover Range Rover Sport. Now this Rover Sport comes in the HSE trim level. We do have the luxury package attached to that. Comes in santorini black, and then we have the ebony leather interior. And the powertrain consists of a 5-liter naturally aspirated V8 engine, made it to a 6-speed automatic transmission. That gets us 375 horsepower, 375 pound-feet of torque. And this one has 140,000 something miles like that. I'll show you the exact mileage here in a minute. But to the front end here, we do get our high-intensity discharge headlamps. Fog lights there, daytime running lights. Love the look, even for a 2011 in today's climate. It's still a beautiful vehicle in my opinion. And very few rock chips along the front there. But as we come around to the side here, these are 19-inch, I believe that's aluminum. Just a little bit of curb rash on it, nothing terrible. And we get passive keyless entry. We have our power mirror controls here. We can pick a side and adjust using this dial. And then we have one-touch automatic up and down windows on all 4 doors, rear window locks here. And then we do have our memory seat functions here, power door lock controls here. And to set a seat, just hit that M, it'll light up, and then hold the number you want to set it to, and then you can recall up to 3 settings by hitting any of those numbers. And just a little bit of wear on the wood grain here. We do get that Harman Kardon Sound System. Sounds incredible. I just tested it out. Headlamp controls are here. Autos there. We have our fog lights, rear fog lights. I'll leave those on for a minute. Brightness for the gauge cluster can be adjusted there. There's our hood release. And then we do have a power tilt and telescoping steering wheel. And then you put it to this auto mode and you can set it to whatever memory seat function you have. And then here's our power driver seat with power lumbar support. But I have that seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. So let's go ahead and check out this rear seat room. So pretty good space back here. A lot of that just has to do with how tall the Range Rover is and how it uses its space in the interior. But we have seat back pockets on both sides, and then rear AC vents are here. I can close those off. And then we have an aux input there, cigarette lighter, and then 2-stage heated outboard seats. Then we can close all that up. And then middle seats there. And then you can fold that down by pulling that strap if you want to use it as an armrest. And then it snaps back into place. And we do have the armrest here for both front seats, and then a grab handle here, and we can hang probably a plastic hook or 2 metal hanger hooks there. Well, let's go ahead and make our way towards the back. And there's, look, the rear end there. Also a nice look, very elegant in my opinion. We do have a tow hitch down there, and then there's the dual exhaust. And there's a spare underneath there as well. But huge shout out to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this Range Rover today. I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested in purchasing. So there's the glass there. And then there's the whole lift gate. I don't think I've actually ever opened one of these before, so I'm glad I was able to figure that out. But WeatherTech floor mats in here, and then that's the jack and all that for the spare. Of course, this comes with this vehicle, but it's not standard on these. There's a 12 volt, but pretty good space back there for the most part. And as we come around to the side here, fuel cap is there. Premium's recommended. And then we can fold these seats flat, pulling up here when there's enough space there. And you can also hit that from the back as well. And then it folds back into place pretty easily. And then to the front passenger seat, same power adjustability with power lumbar support as we get on that driver's side. Then we get a little pocket here, storage compartments here, and then glove compartment down there. And this one still has the owner's manuals in it as well. But this is, I think, under 11 or 10 grand right now, so a pretty good deal for a good running Range Rover. And this one was, you can tell, just kept up with its purring. And I tested out the air suspension and all that. Everything seems to be working fine. But there's that 5-liter naturally aspirated V8 mostly covered up there. And those hydraulics seem to still be working as well on that hood. Well, let's hop in the driver's seat real quick. So there's the leather wrap steering wheel. Nice feel. Still feels fantastic after all these years, and very little wear on here. Whoever had this, you can just tell baby this. Now to the screen here, we get this LCD screen. I think it's like 7 inches or something. But navigation, to use that, you just type in, it's, you know, it's old school. You have to type in a number or so on and so forth. And then there's the actual screen itself. You can zoom in and out there. And then you can set certain spots as destinations, so on and so forth. But it's a good system for 2011. It just, you know, it's a little finicky as opposed to using your Apple Maps or Google Maps that you can use with CarPlay these days, but still, it's nice to have. And then we do have Bluetooth phone capability. We have FM, AM, CD player, satellite radio, and then we do have that aux input as well. And that's how we can change the bands there. And then along with the aux, we have a USB as well. And we have quick shortcuts for a lot of this stuff too. But our settings are in here. So we can go through our screen settings, system settings, and there you can change your language from English to Spanish to Italian. Tons of languages to choose from there. And then we can cut the screen off just by hitting that button anytime, and then just hit a button to get it back up. And there we have our 4-wheel drive info there. So pretty neat. I like how this is set up. Again, for 2011, it's impressive. There's the backup camera there. And then clocks here. We can use this to adjust volume. We can click that to turn the volume off and adjust back. Tune knob there. We can go through sources there. CD players right in there. We get 3-stage heated front seats, parking sensor toggle, hazards, traction control. And then for the AC, we can toggle through the fan speed there, set the auto mode there, and then cut the fan speed down to turn that off. And we do have dual zone automatic climate for the front, so we can adjust that there. But to the shifter, hold this lever, reverse neutral drive, and come over here, you can manually shift. We do have an electronic parking brake, so you can pull that up to engage, hit the brake, press it again to disengage. And then all of our off-road modes, you use this knob here, and I'll show you it on the screen. So we have the special programs off. There's grass, gravel, snow, mud ruts, sand, and rock crawl. And then we have our downhill brake control here. We can control the 4-wheel drive there, and then we can control the air suspension here. And again, I just tested that out, works great. Bottle holders here, ashtray, and then we can stow all this away. Center console cubby space there. You can remove that tray, plenty of storage down in there. And then there are our USB ports. Sorry for slamming that. A little loose there. There are the lights. And we can slide or tilt the sunroof. And that is one touch, and that's nice. And we have a screen as well, a windscreen. And there's a view of the back seat from up here. And again, I just can't say enough about how nice this particular Range Rover is. Just kept in fantastic shape. There's a garage door transmitter underneath that rear view mirror. And then over here, we can use this mode button again to go through the audio sources, volume, track list, or radio station presets. And then all of our cruise controls are here. We can adjust the speed. And then we have the horn on either side, and the buttons are used to control that. And then Bluetooth here. We can go through our gauge cluster there, which I'll show you that in a minute. Heated steering wheel toggle is right there. Windshield wiper controls are right here. So we have one time, then there's off, auto, low, high. And then we can adjust the auto wiper sensitivity there. And you actually pull up for the rear wiper fluid, and then you press the button on the side for the front wiper fluid. And that's the first time I've actually ever seen a windshield wiper control like that. So that's pretty interesting. And then over here, blinkers. And then we can go through the trip meter by hitting the button on the side here at the bottom. And then we can toggle our high beams there and then flash doing that. Now, back over here, these 4 arrows in the OK button. I'm gonna show you the whole setup here. So go to vehicle setup. You can set all of that, and then go to trip computer, and you can toggle what's shown there, and you can actually change your units to metric if you want to do that. It's a weird place to put it, but whatever. And then language and temperature are underneath the display settings there. And there's the push button start. Finally, here's our key fob. And next, let's go ahead and take this 141,520 mile Land Rover Range Rover Sport HSE out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Range Rover Sport, pretty quick, even with this being a heavier vehicle. I mean, you have 375 horsepower, 375 pound-feet of torque. It's gonna be fast, but I have it in the command shift setting now. And the shifts are very quick. So it's fun being able to use that. But I'm just gonna put my foot into it. Getting on the interstate here. Yeah, that's pretty fast, especially for an SUV like this. Just very impressive acceleration. I'm gonna put the cruise on now. And a pretty good ride coming down the interstate here. Wind noise isn't too bad, but I mean, the ride quality itself is superb for something that you can take off-road. And a very controlled ride at that. I'm not having to fight the steering wheel to keep it straight. It does a pretty good job at doing that, even though it's pretty windy out right now. And for whatever reason, the coolant light just came on. But this has been through service and it's good to go, so maybe just the level was low or something. But a joy to drive these. I see why people keep them so long. They're just very nice vehicles, just expensive to repair when you have to do that. But obviously this one was maintained, kept up to date with all the service records. That's why it's still running and driving as well as it is. Now for this price point, it's crazy to think that this was probably close to 6 figures when it was first released, and now you can get one of these for a little over $10,000. Definitely a good bargain. And if you know how to work on cars, I don't know how long the air suspension will last with this kind of mileage. I don't know how long the transmission will last, engine, all of that, but I can tell you right now, everything is running perfectly at this point in time. So I wouldn't mind buying a Range Rover like this that I know everything is working well on. And just great power output, great sound coming from the engine and the exhaust. I just feel like $1 million driving this Rover Sport. Again, even though it's a pretty inexpensive vehicle right now. And then on top of just how this one's spec'd out, love having the Lux package. So I can get the heated steering wheel, 3-stage heated seats, all the Harman Kardon Sound System is a big plus. That sounds incredible compared to the stock system, and the stock system's not awful. So just everything in this, I kind of want to buy this, except the fuel economy is not going to be the best. But if you just use this to drive around on the weekends or something, it'll be a great vehicle for that. And honestly, European cars aren't that hard to work on if you're used to working on them. But if you're used to working on American cars, they're different. So I know how to work on a Volvo because that's one of the first cars I've had to work on. And then it makes working on a Ford a little bit more difficult for me. But if you find the right mechanic or you look up the right YouTube videos, you could pretty much fix anything on any vehicle. So I wouldn't shy away from this just because you're scared about a super expensive repair. Just having eBay, Facebook Marketplace, anything you need, Rock Auto, you can just pull it up on the internet and not have to pay an arm and a leg to, you know, feed somebody else's pocket. But this has been a treat. I'll definitely leave a link below again in the description of this if you're interested in purchasing, because this is one of the best examples that I've seen of this body style Range Rover Sport. And again, everything seems to be in great shape. But this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2011 Land Rover Range Rover Sport HSE with the Lux package.